Okay, so we are recording, and as I mentioned, it'll be up on the district website tomorrow. I'll also send you a link. Welcome, everyone. My name is Jeff Weinrack. I am the district trainer for Governor-elect Sonny. And what we're going to do first is we're going to just do a quick introductions for everyone that's on the Zoom call tonight. And I'll just go across do our Zoom protocol of top left to bottom right. I'll just read out your name. And if you let us know your club and your role next year, especially if, let's say, you're not going to be club secretary, maybe you're going to be a incoming president or something like that. So, George Hobbs.
George Hobbs, Rotary Club of Los Lunas. I've been secretary treasurer for almost 35 years.
Oh my word. Wow.
Yes.
I'll let you just take it, George.
Thank you, George.
Sorry. Virginia Platt from Marfa Rotary Club. And I've been the secretary for, I was secretary last year and will be secretary this coming year.
Thank you, Virginia. Danette?
Donette Wagner, executive secretary for the Rotary District 5520.
Yay. Thank you, Danette. Leah Masters?
I'm Leah Masters. I'm with the Rotary Club of El Paso, and I'll be the secretary next year.
Excellent, thank you. Ann Allen?
Ann Allen, West El Paso, and I will be secretary next year.
Thank you. John
Yeah.
Crida?
Hello, John Crider. Let's see, Rotary Club of Albuquerque, Sandia. I'll be secretary last year. I was secretary next year. I'll be secretary forever, for life.
Thank you. Alicia Davis?
I'm Alicia Davis, Farmington Rotary Club, and everyone's saying secretary next year, but ours will be starting July 1st. So I'll be secretary this year.
Well,
Right.
We mean this year.
Yes.
Okay, I was confused.
July 1st, it's a brand new year.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
upcoming year. Yes. Thank you. Donna Hooten?
Hi, Donna Hooten. I'm with the Hobbs Rotary Club down here in Hobbs, New Mexico. And I've been secretary for the last 5 years, so I'm going into 6.
Fantastic. Thank you. Maria?
I'm Maria Montoya Chavez. I'm with Del Norte here in Albuquerque, and I will be the secretary, the board secretary. And I'm used to collecting money. It was Sergeant at Arms, which was super fun.
Excellent.
Are you pandering now?
Hello, Fred.
Hi, Maria.
Fred, go ahead.
Fred Pugh. I'm with the Albuquerque Metro Rotary Club. And like George, I've been the secretary for, well, no, not like George. I've only been secretary for a year. Nowhere close to 36. So, and I am, again, secretary for this coming year.
Thank you, Fred. Geneva?
Hi, I'm with the Zaragoza Rotary Club in El Paso, and it's my first year as a member and first year as secretary. Starting.
Wow.
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 That's excellent. Leslie?
Hi, I'm from the Rotary Club of Los Alamos. I took over for our secretary last fall, and then I'm starting for the fresh for this year as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Leslie. Olga?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm Olga Torres. I am with the Northeast Rotary of El Paso and secretary for 2 years. This will be my second year.
Excellent. Thank you. Sunny?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sunny Kellerman from the Rotary Club of Silver City, New Mexico, and I will be your governor next year.
Yay.
Yay.
Or in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, yes.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Regina?
Hi, I'm Regina. I was secretary this past year, didn't know what I was doing, and I will be the secretary for this coming year. So I've been Rotary 2 years and part of the Anthony, New Mexico, Texas Club.
Excellent. Thank you. Sandra?
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'm incoming president in a couple weeks for Del Norte. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed?
Ed Robertson, Rotary del Sol, Albuquerque, president-elect for a couple more weeks.
That's right. Thank you, Ed. Lynn?
Oh, you finally realized you skipped over me, huh?
I'm just following my Zoom tracker here.
Oh, but I should be, I'm listed second. Anyway, I'm from Socorro, New Mexico, Rotary Club. And I've been secretary for 13, 14 years. They just consider me secretary for life.
Boy,
Wow.
thank you. Misty?
Misty Frank. I'm with Fort Stockton Rotary Club in West Texas. I've been secretary before. I'll be secretary this incoming year and potentially a secretary for a long time if this year goes well.
Is there something in the job description that I missed? I'm sorry. Thank you, Misty. Davis?
Yes, Secretary-elect for Albuquerque's Rotary del Sol, taking over for Herman.
Thank you, Davis. Tammy?
Hi, Tammy Mandel. I'm from the Carlsbad Rotary Club, and this is my, I think, 4th year being secretary.
Wow.
Thank you. Connie?
I'm with the Rotary Club of White Sands. I've been the executive secretary since 1984.
Wow.
Wow.
And Susan?
Well, some of these have to be records, Jeff. I think you ought to keep track of these and submit them. I'm Susan Fox. I'm with Rio Rancho Rotary Sunrise. I've been secretary before and I will be secretary again.
Thank you. Okay. So just Zoom protocol. This is a fairly large group, but I'm not hearing any feedback. And if that continues, then we don't have to mute everyone because we want this to be interactive. If by chance we do have to mute everyone, and if you have a question, there's 2 ways to do that. You can submit a question on the chat, and then I will read that question to Danette when she is in the middle of maybe changing slides. The other way you can do it is if you click on participants at the bottom of your Zoom window, you'll see a little button at the bottom right that says raise hand. And if you raise hand, a little purple blue hand shows up on the screen. I'll notice it. And again, I'll just say, Sunny, go ahead and ask your question to Danette. So those are the 2 ways to ask questions if we need to mute everyone. But right now, let's just see how it goes because I'm not hearing any feedback yet. And with that, Danette, it is all yours.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate all of you attending. It's really great to see everybody. I've met most of you, but I did want to take this opportunity to go through some of the information. As you can tell, some of you know it a lot better than I do probably, and some of you don't. So I won't go real slow, but I don't mind slowing down. There's a lot of information to cover, and I'll be glad to slow down or go over anything twice. I also, you have the advantage of having the position in Rotary that has the only paid executive to help you. So don't feel bad about asking a question anytime during the year. Or if you are a subscriber through your club of Club Runner, I won't be going into how to do your website and how to change things on your website, but would be glad to go over it with you individually, and we could learn some things on your website. So I'll just jump in. Let's see, I need to share. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay, let's go to the home page. Okay, are you able to see my screen here?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if you see at the top, you'll see that it says Donette Wagner, which means that I've already signed in. if you don't, I'm going to have to minimize my, I won't be able to see your faces because I've got to see my whole screen. So if I scroll down here towards the bottom of this page, you will see a whole login instructions area. So if you are not able to sign in to Rotary5520.org, this is how to do it. It's also important to tell your members because at times they will need to sign on to this. So that's a very important piece right there. Here's your district contacts that you will use very frequently. Me, the district bookkeeper, Debbie, which will deal with invoicing, and the public image chair. So if you all are given information by your public image people, please feel free to forward it to me. I do want to let you know that I forward everything to both the person who does the bulletin, Don Powell, and to the person who does PI, which includes Facebook, Twitter, all those products. I'm going to take just a second to tell you, I would highly encourage you to get a Facebook page and try to help your club if you know anything about Facebook and don't have one already. People are really successful in spreading their news using that. So I'll go back up to the top a little bit about what we have here. When you come into this, you'll hear me say, and other people say, be sure you go to the website and sign up for district convention, pets, whatever. On the left-hand side are the things that you can sign up for. And you'll see that Jeff has the e-assemblies that are coming up. And below that, you'll see here's our fundraising workshop tomorrow night. So if you click on that, that's where you'll sign up.
It's afternoon, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, afternoon. So there's a little map of our district. Then after that, you're looking at the district website, and it will have some of the events that are district-wide, and some of them that clubs have turned into me and asked me to put it in here. So that's our district calendar. Under that right now is Governor Gary King's calendar, soon to be Sonny Kellerman's calendar. And when you click on that, you will see where Sonny is speaking and when, and what events she's going to attend. So that might be real important to know if she's planning on attending your event. Below that is the org chart of the district. Here's the club directories and contacts. So if you saw someone on here and want to, let's say, contact Susan because maybe she knows something you want to know about, her information would be through that club directory. Past this is some Rotary links that you will find real helpful to jump into Rotary International and that kind of thing. We'll go over some of that later. So the main things you will be doing as secretary will primarily be on the district website. I do want to go over that when you enter your executives, so that means your officers, they will automatically be pushed up to Rotary International. So will your members. So if you enter a new member on the website at the district level, it will push up to RI. At this time, it's real important for you all and your outgoing secretaries to make sure that your membership is correct with RI, because you will be billed based on the RI membership at the end of the month. So I just wanted to point that out to you. Now's the time to adjust your membership or do whatever you need to do to make sure you're in sync. And we'll talk about being in sync here in a little bit. I have something blocking me, but you can see that I'm signed on. Maybe I can move this. Here we go. So right now I want to jump into some of these. Each of these are drop downs and they all have really great information. So club administration, here's all kinds of guides you will use. Here's the district budget, training manuals, those kind of things. Insurance. I don't know if you all are aware, but by being a member of Rotary International, we do have insurance for the club level. So sometimes, let's say you have an event and you need a copy of your insurance for the location or people attending or whatever, you can go to this link and fill out a form and they will send you proof of insurance for your events. So that's really important. Online makeups.
Excuse me. Hey, Donette, this is Sandy Roush. Is that, let's say, can you keep that on file for yourself or keep it in your file on your computer all year? I mean, is it, if you just ask to have it on hand?
Yes.
That'd be okay? Okay.
Yes. And I actually have one I've been gonna bring to our board meeting, Sandy, but just haven't, we haven't had one in a long time.
Sounds good. Okay, good. Thank you.
So anyway, that's handy to have, and just know that you do have insurance. So if someone gets hurt at your events or whatever, there is insurance for you. Okay, membership has membership tools and that kind of thing, although you won't be doing, membership means how to attract members. And then foundation, you'll hear a lot about, go to the website, and if you go to the foundation drop down, you'll see grant basics, you'll see all kinds of things. There's also a grant module that's included in this of where we go to apply for grants in our district. Here's public image, some information on that. Here's all of our youth programs and our information about those. Here's youth protection. So if you need to fill out the youth protection form to say drive a kid to RILA next year, this is where you'll do it. Training, it has different training, e-training things that we do. And these are the 2 awards that you can apply for. There are many other awards, but the Sonny Brown Award and the New Generations Award, you'll hear about them later as I email you information, and you'll want to be sure and apply for both of those. So I'm going to start by jumping in to club administration and look at RI Club Officers Resources. I'm going to scroll down here and see this Lead Your Club Secretary. If I click on this document, this is an RI document, and it basically tells you the functions of your job. And as we all know, every club is different. So you may or may not be assigned all these jobs, but these are typical of your position. So if no one is doing them, it's really important to come and look, and it does have the other positions and what jobs are normally done by them. But let's say no one's done goals for your club. You need to go find out who's responsible for that and find out how to do that. So you are right now attending your training assembly. You will want to meet with the outgoing secretary and receive the club's records. You'll meet with the incoming board of directors. You'll create my Rotary account, which we talked about. Well, no, we didn't talk about that one. My Rotary account is Rotary.org. So that's the international Rotary account, and you'll need to do that, and I'll show you why later. There's great information there. You'll be responsible for updating your club's records and member list. So If your club starts meeting in a different location, be sure you do that at the district and the RI level, because for instance, if Sunny decides to go to a meeting, she needs to know where you are, and people also attend meetings by finding them on the district website. You'll need to give the club treasurer the club invoices that come to you, but the treasurer pays. You'll serve on the club board and the club administrative committee. You'll take minutes at club and board meetings and club assemblies. You'll update club and officer information for the website. But like I said, you'll enter it in the district and it'll populate up to the RI set. You'll manage the correspondence. One of the things I will tell you is that if you do this through the district website, you will automatically be talking, you will always automatically be able to send it to all of your current members. And members can go in and change their own information. So it's really nice to use this tool so that you're talking to them at their most current email address. The other nice thing about this is that drives me crazy about sometimes is that sometimes they do these email chains and then you get respond all to all emails, and this stops that and can eliminate a lot of unnecessary chatter that isn't always helpful. You'll keep the promotional items and the name badges and all those materials ordered. You'll take attendance and submit it monthly, and we'll go over that. You preserve your club's historical records. You write an annual report at the end of the Rotary year, and you assist the president, treasurer, and committee as needed. You meet with your successor and hand over the records. So you have a really big job in your club, but not to worry, most of you have done it many years, and that's why you're doing it again, because you know how to do it.
Danette, excuse me. Olga has a question. Olga, go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you. Donette, you know what? I wanted to ask you, you were going over, can you scroll back down or?
Sure.
Up, you know, where you were talking about the secretary?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. You know, will you be right there? Will you be able to just show us when it says to manage club correspondence, responding to email, at least kind of go over that briefly?
I can.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure, Olga. So the rest of this has really good information about what you do when. Look at this. This is really handy. This is what you need to do each month so that you don't get behind on records and things like that. There are missing things, like you want to make sure that you work with the treasurer in getting the 990 filled out and that kind of thing. So there's lots of good information. Yes.
I'm sorry. We have some interesting questions on the chat.
Sure.
Tammy asked if there was a format for the annual report that we can use, and then Donna replied and said, I never knew about an annual report. Can you talk about that for a minute?
The annual report is primarily composed now of goals and your responses to your goals so that they're updated. So we'll go into where the president should go in and set up their goals. But throughout the year, it's usually the secretary's job to go in and put, for instance, the community events that you all do and how many hours are spent doing them. So all of that is composes your annual report. I believe that there's another annual report, but I have not seen that. I don't have to do that, so I haven't seen it yet.
Sunny, go ahead.
Just in the last council and legislation session, the RI made a new requirement that every club's board provide the members with a report at the end of December. I haven't seen a format for either of these two reports, but I will ask from RI whether we can get a copy of a template.
Great. Thanks, Sunny.
So may I ask another question? So are they going to change the year from January to December rather than July to?
No.
This is a semi-annual report.
Okay.
And,
Same year.
And most of us do it at our club assemblies at the end of the year, talking about budget, when we present our budget to our club and do some of that kind of stuff. Was that it, Jeff?
Actually, one more thing. I don't know if everyone saw my chat note. My secretary informs me that in order to take advantage of RI insurance for our events, we must make sure that our events are approved by the board as official club events. So please make sure if you hear of an event happening, make sure your board is adopting it as an event so that the insurance kicks in.
Honey, that's your local board. That's your own board. That's not the district board.
That's right.
This is for RI insurance.
Right.
Correct. But it is the local board.
It's the local board.
Yeah, just your local board.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question.
So here's more detail about what you might be doing during club assemblies and that kind of information. So I think we've gone over that pretty extensively. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to move on to a different document. So let's go into the member area. And some of you, you'll find that some of you, when you sign on, your screen will come up looking like this, because that means that you are a officer and you have access to these options. When you look at this screen, you'll see that all of mine are blue, although some of yours will be gray and some of them blue. You can only access the blue ones. You only have authority to access the blue.
Incorrect. Please check the number or code and try again.
So when you come in here, most of your jobs are down here under For Club Executive. So if we just pop into active members list, you'll see that it pops up because I'm in Del Norte, it pops up with Del Norte. And if I want to add a new member, I go right here and add a new member. And what I really want to talk about is, this is pretty straightforward. The red ones are mandatory that you fill them in. Now, you can only see this, RI requires that date join club must be within the past 30 days. So you can't go backwards and say, well, he joined my club, 2 months ago. That it just won't let you do that. So you need to stay on top of your membership so that their member dates to join Rotary are correct. And then this one is really important. So let's say that Sandra leaves Metro and she's going to come because I've talked her into coming to my club, or she's moved over to where it's more handy where she joins my club. Okay, so she's a transferring member. So she has a Rotary member number. You find your Rotary member number for one place. You can always find it on the district website if you're still an active member, but you also, or you can call Rotary and find out an old Rotary member number, but it is on your Rotary magazine on the label. So your Rotary member number is on your Rotary magazine on the label. here's where you put the former Rotary Club. So I would put her Metro Club out. And by the way, everybody's Rotary Club, it's not El Paso Northeast. It is the Rotary Club of El Paso Northeast. So you need to fill it out like that, the Rotary Club of. And then here's where you put the district. So if she is a transferring member, and let's say I don't know her Rotary member number, you can fill out the Rotary Club that she belonged to and the district that that was in. You can always go Google a Rotary Club and find out what district number it was. And when you do this, if it's a transferring member, it can take easily 72 hours because these aren't automatic feeds into Rotary International. They have to go do the research to find out what the member number was, transfer points, all that kind of stuff. But you need to do this so that they have their Paul Harris Fellow points transferring with them. Now, there's really, it does say transferring member, but just know in Rotary, there's not really such a thing as a transferring member. What they do is they drop them from the other club and add them to the new club. So be sure you have the old club transfer them. So this is your filling out your new member form. I just wanted to go on to those go into those things. When you add a new member, be sure you wait at least 48 hours to check and see that it got to RI. For the most part, we don't have problems with this. However, there is times when the district website is down for maintenance, and there's times when the RI members website is down for maintenance. So if it's sent at that time, it could be lost. So that I have seen that happen. Okay, one of the things we have to do is we have to define club executives. So I'm going to jump into that.
Danette, we have a question from Olga.
Sure.
Olga, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask because I know that happened, we transferred and I received an email asking if that person was in good standings. Is that always the case? And if not, what happens?
If they, the reason they're asking you that, and it will, when you terminate a member, it will ask you if they left in good standing. It basically informs the new club of whether they were in good standing with you, because the new club should know what kind of problems there were. Did they not pay their bills? You know, whatever happened. That's important for a new club when they're looking at members.
Thank you.
So one of the things I'll say about club executives and directors, it also populates up to RI. It's on the current year. It will always come up to the current year. And watch this number right here. It's really important. When it rolls over and you start taking over as the new secretary, you will see that this number changes and it's 2021. But you can go forward and backwards. So after December, if you've adopted the bylaws from Rotary International, you'll elect your new officers. And it's really important for you all to come in here and put these officers in here, because our trainings, all of our information, our president-elect notifications go out through this website. And so we need to know who your next president is so that we can invite them prior to their year. So if you click on next year right here, like I'm doing, you'll see that it pops up, and here's Sandy Rush, who's going to be our president next year. And it has changed it to 2021. So it's pretty easy to do. I usually come in and carry all of you over individually, so you don't have to do this, but if you want to get ahead of me, you can carry it over to next year. What it does is it puts all the titles and positions in and leaves the names blank, and you all will fill them in. I usually do that for you just so you don't have to. So I don't have to explain how to do it 68 times. So that's basically officers. Another important thing to know is you can do a RI member synchronization. And Olga, this is how I put your data all back in. So let's say you get mixed up and you don't know why, but for some reason it's dropped a member. So here's your members that both have well, here's the member type. So these are active. Here's the RI member type, and here's the club runner member type. So you want to make sure that these are the same. And then member and active or active satellite. And by the way, we now have active satellite or active e-club. We have several things. So you can define your types of members, which is really helpful. So here we're comparing, and you can see that they have member ID numbers. Those are your Rotary member ID numbers in this area. And then if you scroll down to the bottom, here's member name mismatches. So we call this guy Ken Abbott, but his name in Rotary is Kenneth Abbott. So it just is letting me know that. I want to keep it that way because we call him Ken. The member type mismatches is Karen Foster. Club Runner has her as an ex-member and RI has her as a member. So that needs to be edited. And here are members missing an RI. So these members, see right here how I can pop her and say add her to RI. If I know that she doesn't exist at RI, I would do that. Here's members missing in Club Runner. So my guess is you wouldn't want to do that on her. Sandra Carpenter, let's look her up down here. Here she is. So she has been added to RI, but it didn't sync with us. And so we need her, add her back into Club Runner with the correct ID number, or else it's just never going to be in sync.
Hey, Donette.
Yes.
So on this, and you and I had worked this before, and our club still has the same issue with 4 of our members. And it shows RI member blank, RI member type blank, and the members missing.
Mm-hmm.
But on the top of members in sync, it shows RI member type as members.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to the add members to RI, that's when you get hit with that. It has to be within the last 30 days.
Correct.
But
because
these people have been members for over a year, and this system's not updating. Every time I try to do it, I run into the same problems. How do we fix this? Because I don't want to have to go in and the membership ID number is the same. The Club Runner member type is active, but the RI member type shows in the bottom as no RI member type, but yet in the members in sync, it shows them as members in RI. And I don't want to change their date to say now they're try this again, and they become active members within the last 30 days, yet they've been members for over a year.
Right. So what you have to do is you have to call RI and get it straightened up. I have no idea why these got out of sync, but they should sync up to RI and give you back an ID number. And for some reason, these don't. So I would have to look at yours, but I remember working with you, Fred, and we had to bring them down from RI, and that duplicated them in your Club Runner. And then we had to delete the ones that didn't have an ID number, because you've got to have that RI membership number.
But ironically, the members missing an RI have ID numbers that match their active member numbers. So that, I don't understand why.
I'm not sure. I remember you and I worked through it and got it synced, but I'm not
No,
sure.
Yeah, it never really did sync when we tried it. And I tried it again a couple times and I gave up on it. But now that we're getting close to the end of the
Yeah, you've got to get it right or you'll get double billed for those people.
Yeah.
So I'll work with you, Fred, on it. I just fixed Olga's. So I'll be glad to go work on yours too.
Okay.
So other people need to be sure and check that so we can get them synced before, and it needs to be more than just June 30th, because some of these take, like I said, easy 72 hours to sync up. So it's time to work on all this. So I just wanted to let you know that. Then some of the other things you might want to do is for clubs. Let me go back into admin because that's a good place to, and administration. And look at that web page. Because down here under for club executives, here's your club information page. So be sure that this is where you change your location and your time so that Sunny doesn't run around the state looking for clubs that she can't find. And attendance report. So here's where you put your attendance report. And so when I get down here, you can see that we haven't done April, but we need to put the number of members that we have, the new members this month, and the terminated members this month. So it hasn't been done in a few months. So that needs to be updated. And then, like I said, I will go into website with you individually. When you come up to admin, is it in admin? Let's see. Admin. Let me see if I can find our.
Danette?
Yeah.
So I don't know if these particular pages have it, but if you haven't worked in Club Runner before, just be wary of making sure that you save when you're finished doing your work. There may be like a save button at the very bottom of a screen you've got to scroll down to. Otherwise, it may not save. So just be on the lookout for saves on your web pages.
Thank you, Jeff. That catches people really bad on the membership information, because they'll go in and say, well, I already updated his address. Well, if you didn't push save at the bottom, it doesn't actually save it. So here's the communications module of this website. I was asked to go over that a little bit. So here's email services. So right here, as you can see, I just sent out an email on Rotary Polio Plus campaign. And so if I wanted to, I could compose a new message. For me, I have the option to send to the whole district. You'll only have the option if you're subscribing to Club Runner to send to your members. So what I do, first of all, you have to have a subject line. And then it will put in for you, Dear John Doe. And you will want to send this maybe to the active members, or maybe you only want to send this, look how neat this is. You can send it only to your president-elect or your president, or maybe your entire board. But if you look down here a little further, you'll see that I can send it to, here's clubs. I can expand and send it to only Alamogordo and Tularosa or whatever. So here's district executives for this year and next year, and I bet you have club executives this year and next year. So then I write my email body right here. And then I put my attachments for upload right here. I don't check this option because in Rotary, as you well know, we don't give out other people's email address. So when I send you this, I don't put the attachment of who else I'm sending it to. I do usually do copy me on this email, and you can send it right now or you can schedule it. And then once you fill all this out, send highlights and you can send it to your recipients. When you email, it will tell them that it came from Donette Wagner through Club Runner. But if they respond to it, it will come to my email on record. So I will get it at secretary5520.org. Does that help? Is that enough on communication?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Jeanette,
Yes?
one other advantage in using Club Runner for your email is the people who get it cannot reply all.
Right. That's what I went over earlier. That's what I was telling you. They can't do reply all. And sometimes that reply all is stuff you don't want replied to all. Right. So it's a great tool. This dashboard under reports is a dashboard, and I find this really, really helpful and interesting when I look at our club. So this happens to come up because this is the very first club in our district. It's Alamogordo. So it's showing you the membership history report, and you can see what's happening with membership history. This happens to be the entire district, though. I can tell by the numbers. I can jump into different time frames. I can see how many new members we have added and how many have been terminated and how many people have logged into this website. We have right now 66 clubs. We're fixing to drop one more. This is the active members we have and the honorary members we have. This is great information. This is a gender distribution report telling us, sometimes this is real interesting because we think maybe we're mostly male club and we come in here and look, we're 34% female, which is pretty good. This is good information. Highest attendance this month. Years of service. This is really interesting because look what you see about our clubs right now. Our big box right here is over 20 years of service. When we get Rotarians, we're really, compared to other clubs, pretty good at keeping membership.
Donette, how do you calculate attendance percentage?
Number of members by how many you have at the meetings. So are you taking attendance?
Yes, I am, except for I complete the chart except for attendance percentage, and no one has been able to tell me how to calculate that.
It's just I don't remember the formula right now. Isn't it number of members divided by, number of members in attendance divided by total number of members?
Exactly.
By total number of what?
Members?
Well, I thought it was based on how many meetings per month or, because
Well, it is. So you would add up all, if you want to do it that way, add up all the members that were in attendance for the entire month, which may be 4 meetings, and
Okay.
then on the bottom number, multiply your number of members by 4. Or if you want to be more exact, the number of members you had at each time frame.
so it doesn't have to do with the quorum of people that show up? Because it's
No.
usually the same people that show up. You know, I might have 10 members that always show up, but I have 18 members.
Right. So if you had two meetings for the month, then you would say 10 members showed up, and it doesn't matter whether it's the same 10 or a different 10, it's 20 members divided by 36. Does that make sense?
So it's your total members that you have. I have 18 members. So every time I'm going to use that 18 members divided by the 4 meetings that I have per month.
No.
Donna, if I can help.
Yes.
So if you have 18 members and you have 4 meetings a month, that's 72 meeting days that you have for your members. So you would have to take 72, because that's your 18 times 4.
Right.
And then if you have 10 members that show up every week, that's 10 times 4. So you divide 40 by the 72, and that's going to give you your percentage. That's going to give you your number.
All right, got it.
Times 100.
Times 100, yeah, to get percentage.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we only track attendance for active members. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's really important. So if your honoraries are attending, you would not count them in those numbers.
Okay.
I have been asked by several of you several different times, and I think I've responded in several ways as this has gone on. What do we do about people who can't pay their dues right now because they've lost their job? Can I keep them on as a member? So different clubs are doing this different, and Sunny may want to jump in at the end, but some clubs are able to pay the dues and keep them on. Smaller clubs, that's not so easy. And so I am telling some of them, you can drop them as a true member and add them back when they get their job back. However, there's nothing to say that they can't attend your meetings. So they won't get their magazine, but that's the only thing they'll really notice, because there's nothing to say they can't visit your club the entire time they're unemployed, but we just don't want to lose them. So I wouldn't do a big focus on the fact that they're not a member. I wouldn't count them in attendance because they're not members, but definitely keep them in the loop and make sure that you put them on your invites for your meetings. Sunny, you want to jump in there and say anything about that?
I do. A couple of things. Some clubs who can are carrying members for purposes of dues paying, and in the temporary sense. And some clubs actually have an angel fund to support members who are in trouble. I have been told to wait till after July 1st to send this out, but I'll be sending out a notice to all Rotarians in the district that if you actually are having difficulty with district dues, we are finding some angels who can help to cover that. We can't do it for RI dues, but we can do it for district dues. And you'll get a memo from me on July 2nd to that effect.
Danette, we have a few questions.
Okay.
Let's see, on the chat, I'm not sure if Geneva, if you got your question answered. She asked, where is the percentage reported?
RI.
Okay.
And to the governor.
Just to me, yes.
Yeah.
RI is no longer tracking it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Olga asked in the chat, I have a member that's not getting his magazine. What do I have to do?
Call RI support, and if you Google RI support, you'll find the 800 number for RI support. I can't help with that. I don't have any access to RI information like that.
And then Misty has her hand raised. Misty, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Okay, not necessarily a question, but I have a spreadsheet that was given to me when I became secretary, that if you're even remotely familiar with Excel, you just fill it out every week. You fill out how many how many times you met in the month, and it figures your attendance for you. I don't have a problem sending that out. I just didn't know if it would be easier to send it to one person or send it, how to get it distributed. But you do have to manipulate it, if a member leaves on, that weekly cell, but it's super easy to track your attendance that way. I use it and have used it, and so I don't mind sending that out. Another thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is, if you're tracking attendance, and I don't know how important this is right now, but there is a 75 rule to my understanding. So if your years of service and your age equals 75, you're just always counted.
85.
And that
85.
helps your attendance.
Yeah.
Oh, 85. Okay. And the other thing that I was gonna ask, I had one more thing and I've just lost it. So
Misty, if you will send me the that document, I'll be glad to send it out to these attendees.
Okay.
And the 85 rule is a rule that Rotary no longer actually recognizes. Rotary International doesn't recognize it, but we recognize it within the clubs because we've had it for years. And basically for most clubs, and everybody's rules are different. For most clubs, it means you don't have to pay for meals when you're not there, but you have to pay for meals when you attend. So but every club's different on how they handle it.
Then also you're not counted as being there if you're not there. I mean, you're not counted as being absent if you're not there.
Right.
Your numbers shouldn't go into attendance, is basically what that means.
Okay. What? I think that was all.
Ann Allen, you've got your hand raised. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I have two questions. Follow up to the R85 discussion.
Mm-hmm.
When an R85 member is present, do they count toward attendance?
No.
No.
They never count toward attendance.
No.
Not if you're not going to count them as absent, then they don't count as members.
Okay.
For
So
attendance.
how do you deal
For
with them
attendance.
when they're present?
You don't count them in attendance at all.
At all? Okay.
Either way.
Okay.
They're just, they no longer are counted toward attendance.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, it's really, really important to some of these members to keep the attendance on them because they want their 100% attendance.
Yes, yes. I have one in that category. And a second question, on the insurance available from RI, does that include directors and officers insurance coverage, or is it just event coverage?
It's directors and officers also.
Okay, that's good to know.
You can download that. I would encourage you to download it and read it.
Okay.
Donna Hooten has a question. Donna, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry, one of the quick things. Sorry. I was just going to say, if you have questions, talk to
So there must be some feedback coming from your computer. I'm sorry. Can you chat your question, please?
Well, I did. You have to mute your phone.
I have to do what to my phone?
Mute it.
But I'm trying to talk.
Jeff, can you mute her phone or mute
your computer? Mute your computer.
One just a second. Okay. So I just muted everyone because it wasn't clear to me. So you can unmute yourself if you have a question for Danette. Donna, can you ask your question?
Look, I did it in a chat earlier. If you'll go back up the feed.
She's talking about a
Oh, okay, I'm going to mute everyone again. Okay, Donna's question is, what is the purpose of making a member an honorary member? I have a state senator requesting to take a break. How would I handle this?
Well, I'm willing to take the first crack at this one. There are guidelines from RI on honorary members, and basically they are people who are not active members, but who are recognized by the club for their contribution to Rotary and or the community. They don't pay for meals they don't come for. They're not counted in your active membership. They are celebratory. If your club decides that this state senator is someone deserving of honorary membership, then they can elect to make him or her that. Does that answer your question, Donna? Otherwise, a leave of absence is another way to go.
Thank you, Sunny. Sandy Roush, you have your hand up. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah, it just had to do with the email function. Is that only for secretaries? Because I went into mine and it's to, what do they call it? It's not available to me.
Danette, you're on mute.
So is Sunny.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
I had all that hidden. So it will be available July 1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have we got it all, Jeff?
I believe so. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, I guess we should talk a little bit about that. Members leaving. It is an option if someone's leaving your club that has been around for a long time and deserves the recognition, making them an honorary member. But Rotary is now tracking why people left your club. And it is handy for them and handy for yourself to know later why people left. There are reports in this system of people who have left your club in the past. And there are many people who leave clubs because their job no longer to say meet at noon or whatever. So now if you have a satellite club or maybe they've changed jobs, it's really good to go through those old lists and make a contact once in a while of those old members and say, hey, we're thinking about you. Would love to have you join us again. Like to know what your status is these days. Something like that. So.
Donna, you can also give them a leave of absence for up to a year. They still remain active members. They're not counted in attendance, but they're still active.
Right. I think, Sunny, isn't the recommendation from RI 6 months? But you can extend it another 6 months. I believe
Yeah.
that's.
Actually, remember there are no Rotary police, so you can actually extend it more than 1 year if you must, but in 6-month increments is the recommendation.
But on Club Runner, you can do it for a year.
Okay, I've never used Club Runner for that, so I can't speak to that. Donette?
I'm not the one who extends, you all are, so I did not know that. But I think RI is recommending 6-month increments, but just like she said, you can do 2 6-month increments, easy.
I do believe you are required to stay current with your dues. Is that not correct, Donette?
Yeah, that is correct. You do have to pay dues for leave of absence. Both RI dues and district dues, and usually club dues. So
yes.
Okay, let's jump into Rotary International. Taking a while to bring up. Okay, so if you don't have a sign-on for Rotary International, there's a place to request an account. When you request an account, it will ask for your email address. So it is looking to match you with their records. So if your let's say your work address is your Rotary address, be sure you use that work address versus your home address or whatever. So use the email address that I communicate with you from. So that's the easy way to do that, and tell your members to do that. So once you get a email address, a sign on, and they will give you a sign on, and it's your email address plus a password, then you'll be able to sign on, and you can, I clicked right up here on my Rotary, and in my Rotary there's all kinds of things you can do, including donate. There's a wealth of information about Rotary in this website. There's organization, what am I trying to say, Sunny? Clubs you can join, not clubs, but
fellowships and Rotary groups. And
yes, so you can join any of those. You can do all kinds of things. If you go into Member Center,
You have to sign in or
yes,
log on?
you have to sign in to get to most of this information. There are things, if you're not a Rotarian, you can get in and you can find out information about Rotary.
And look in the lower left-hand corner, you'll find Rotary Club Central. Well, it was there a minute ago.
When I'm on Manage, there you go.
You're on Manage.
This is probably, and I think there's a link from the district site over to this, but here's Rotary Club Central.
Oh dear.
I noticed that. It is, I noticed that earlier when I was bouncing around in here. They are down for maintenance and going to be down for a couple of hours. So I won't be able to show you that, but that's what I was telling you. So now is a good example. If you add a member right now, there would be no way to know that Rotary International is down. And so obviously it would not sync. But let me go here again and explain to you that there's club administration. Let's see if club administration is on. Here's schedule maintenance. So it's not on either. But club administration is where you're going to go to manage your members and make sure that the lists match if you want to see them from this side. It's also where you will go. I think your presidents mostly do that, but the Paul Harris report is in here, and you can come in here and see who has points. So all of this.
Do secretaries have access to that report?
I think the presidents only do, but I'm not positive.
No, the secretaries do also.
Oh, good.
I've
And
accessed
usually
it.
the club foundation chair as well.
Uh-huh.
Probably.
Yeah. And some of this, that's why it's important to have a foundation chair listed in your officers, because it gives them access to that kind of information.
Yes.
Danette, we have a question in the chat, and I'm not sure if you addressed this before, from Regina. Where do you go to update the club annual report?
Okay, so great, it's down, but I was going back into here. If you go to My Rotary, on the left-hand side, and My Rotary was down, I'm sorry, to Club Central. Club Central, there's a panel on the left-hand side, and the very first option says goals. And so you and the president should be working on goals and have them all filled out, and you'll have all kinds of different goals. You'll have goals of giving to foundation, goals of community project hours. I can't think of all of the goals, but there are about,
There are
how many of them?
25 goals. There
Yeah.
are 25 goals.
And I don't know if you're familiar with it. Some of you know very well that to get recognition for meeting goals, what is the criteria next year? Do you want to go over that, Sunny?
I'll just say in a nutshell, because this isn't really part of our topic for tonight, but the Rotary citation will be based on each club selecting just over half of the goals, 13 out of the 25. You pick and set them, and then if you make them, you get the citation.
So if you make them, implies that you will have to go in and fill out whether or not you made them, most of them. There are a few, for instance, if you have a membership goal of increasing by 2, RI knows whether or not you made that goal. But most of them, you'll need to fill out information to let them know whether you made that goal.
And let me just say too, if I find out anything more about the semi-annual or the annual report, I will send it out to everybody.
Fred sent a chat, but he didn't send it to everyone. Fred, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Donette, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, leave of absence and such.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a member in your club, and unfortunately, specifically our president, needs to take a leave of absence, do we need to terminate their membership effective day of leave of absence?
No. No,
I'm
you,
sorry.
assuming
If she
dues
needs
are
a leave of absence, is she going to be able to pay her dues?
We have not addressed that with her.
Okay, that's what the difference is between I need to resign and come back versus I need a leave of absence. If she can pay her dues, it's a leave of absence.
Okay.
I actually have a club protocol on leave of absence that I could make available to everyone if you're interested.
Would love to.
How you're eligible and what you do. Would you like to see that?
Please.
I will send it to Jeff and ask him to send it out with the link to the recording. Is that okay, Jeff?
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back into member area because you might be asked this as the secretary. most of the time there's someone different in your club, but sometimes you're the tag I'm it of grants. Here's the grants module, and I won't go into the details. I don't even know the details, but here is how you submit a grant request in our district. And here's my club grants and the district's grants. I can see the district's grants, but I don't know that you can. So I'll just show you what that looks like so that you can see what your club grants look like.
Jeanette, we have a great question in the chat.
Okay, great.
Leah, do you want to go ahead and unmute and ask your question if you can? If not, I'll read it because it's so good. I don't even want to mess it up by reading it.
Well, my question is, our club is very large, and so we have a paid staff secretary. So I won't have any record-keeping responsibilities. She does all of that. She does the treasury. She does all of that. So do you have a suggestion on what I can do as a club secretary to make my job relevant? Because I don't want to just sit and do nothing, but I want to have some responsibility for our club.
Yes.
And right now, I don't think the club secretary really does anything.
Yes, I can tell you a couple of things. Do you take notes? Will you be, it's normal if there is a paid club secretary that you're the one who takes notes at the board meetings. Is that true?
Okay. She does. She takes the notes and she does the minutes.
Well, you all are lucky. Which
I know. I know we really are.
Okay, so besides taking minutes though, get involved in the goals and tracking the goals because that is very relevant. That really helps the president to stay on track with his year. And then you can be asking him, okay, so we went to Roadrunner and packed food. So how many people went? What were how many hours did people go? And this doesn't have to be precisely, if somebody, I mean, I would say that Rotary's not interested in that. What they're interested in is we all packed food for 4 hours at Roadrunner as a service event. And so go put that in as a service event because I don't know if your executive secretary does that, but that would be very, very helpful. Anything you can do to assist the president in staying on track for the year and meeting his goals probably is your relevant part. What would you like to add to that, Sunny?
Just to say, one very important role you have is monitoring all the various requirements and making sure the club is meeting them. That may not necessarily be in the secretary's purview. And I'm thinking, for example, of the invitation, actually the request from RI that every club adopt an updated set of constitution and bylaws, and that every club provide this semi-annual report in December, things like that. You might want to keep a master list of that and stay on top of it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a really good question. You're lucky you have an executive secretary. Are you El Paso Club?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, you all have someone who does almost all of your jobs. That's nice. Okay. So
I'm sorry, one other thing on the foundation here. If you can go back to the homepage of Club Runner and go to the foundation section, I think that they should see the master list of all the people to call if they have foundation questions. That would be, including if you have a question about grants, rather than try to get into the district grant page, call Peter Falley for district grants and call Tom Walker for. So right under foundation.
Where is that list of people?
I'm looking. It's supposed to be there.
I didn't know it was here.
Well,
it might be in this I don't think it's in grant basics, but we'll see.
I think it's on the last slide of the Grant Basics PowerPoint, which is also in there.
Okay.
Possible. And of course, there's our org chart also that would have a lot of it.
Yes, yes. That's a good point. We could go over that. When you're on the home page, and this is true for all your members that call you and want to know who somebody is, you can point them in this direction. On the home page, on the left-hand side, coming down the page, you will see the org chart. For a lot of us, we like the photos because that jogs our memory who that is, because maybe we don't see them for 5 years. But here's your org chart. And here's the really nice thing about this. If I know that I have a project coming in 2 years and I want to talk to Bob Rush about it, I can come right here and see this little email. If I click on email, it will bring him up in email, and I can email him to ask him about whatever I want to ask him about. So that is true of all the positions. And here we all are. And by the way, as usual, this is 1920. So if you want to see Sunny's year, you would pop right now to next year, and you'll see Sunny's org chart.
Danette, just a time check. We've got about 10 minutes.
Yes. So are there any other questions or anything that I've missed going over that you'd like to see? While you're thinking about that, maybe I will talk a little bit about public image, because you'll find if you don't have a public image chair, you might need to jump in and help with this. But in my Rotary, there is a public image section, and it is just full of good information. And as you create your let's say your flyers for your fundraisers and your flyer for joining your club, for information about your club, you'll want to be sure and go there, because they've changed things about how we brand. And branding's real important to Rotary. So for instance, we don't use the wheel anymore without it saying the word Rotary beside it. So there's a tool in there that actually will let you create a brand. So it's a way to, you just put your club name in and it'll come up with the brand, and you can download all different formats, whether you want to send it to a printer or whether you just need a PDF of that brand. And so you don't even have to create your own brand. It'll create it for you. It'll also create entire flyers for you. You put the information in and it will help you with branding. And so it can save you a ton of money on printed materials, because if you already have it, all you need to do is take it to Kinko and print it out, or FedEx, or wherever you go.
Well,
So
just
that's
quickly, if I may, in my Rotary, there is both a brand center with logos and templates and virtual backgrounds for your Zoom page. And then there are also wonderful classes in the Learning Center on public image, which are also worth looking at. You'll find a lot of great resources there. And don't forget to be in touch with Arturo Barrio, our new Rotary Public Image Chair, who is absolutely phenomenal, enthusiastic and knowledgeable and tech savvy.
right. He's a great guy. And he, in that area, you will find lots of great information. And I do want to say, be really careful in your communities that you use your full club name. I see you all send me flyers all the time for your events, and it'll say Rotary puts on a golf tournament, and it'll have all the information about the tournament, and I'll be like, what Rotary Club puts on? So use your full name and use it consistently, because branding's all about being consistent and using our logo correct and using our your name fully.
Danette, we have a hand raised from Ann Allen. Ann, why don't you go ahead and ask your question?
Yes, earlier, Donette, you mentioned that in Rotary we don't share emails. And could you add a little more detail to that, and in what context?
Yes,
because you can go into the
obviously,
directory and find people's email.
Correct. Your members can go look up your Rotary email members' email addresses or phone numbers or any information. What I'm saying is, if someone calls me, and you wouldn't believe how many times I get this. This is John Doe. I'd like to have your PI, your public relations person's email and phone number. I will not give out any of you all's information to someone like that, unless, even to another member. You know, I'm not going to give out your information unless it's someone that I know has a reason to contact you. Let's say it's the membership chair and he needs to talk to you about membership, then I would give him your information. But we don't share your information, and Rotary International does not sell your information to other people. Right now in this time, everybody would love to have you all's email addresses because they would love to solicit you. And we don't put that out there for that reason. We don't want solicitation from other organizations.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are there any other
questions? Do you want to add anything to that, Sunny?
No, I think that covers it. Thank you.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Are there any other questions? Either raising your hands, or you can go ahead and unmute your mic.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I will say that if you do subscribe to Club Runner, the app to put on your phone that is the Club Runner app, and I don't know this for sure because I don't know any clubs that don't use Club Runner, but Jeff and Sunny, you may know. Can they still use that app for Club Runner on their phones if they are not Club Runner subscribers? Do you know that?
I don't know, because
I don't know that either.
I don't know, because they wouldn't be logging into anything.
No,
Right.
I don't think so. Anyway, so if you're a Club Runner subscriber, meaning pays for Club Runner, then you can download an app, and it is the handiest thing you can imagine. It's just an app that opens and your entire membership is on that app, and you can scroll down and find people's addresses to go to their house or call them or email them directly from that. It's really, really a handy app, and I would highly encourage you. This is something that Secretary was asking me about the El Paso Club. Take a minute in a meeting and go through that so that your members know how to use that.
Jeff, the question from Donna in chat is one that we just answered for the treasurers. And I know I sent you an email and I don't have it handy. Do you remember how to tell her to change to email?
Yes, when you log into My Rotary, you can edit your profile. And in your profile, you can choose an option to have the magazine sent electronically. There's no option to say, I don't want the magazine, but I believe there was an option to go to electronic instead of mail.
And if you have two people in the same household, you can unsubscribe from one magazine.
Correct.
That's the only opportunity. Can you do that for them? I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But if you run into snags, get in touch with one of us. We'll walk you through it.
I have a question on how do you get to the My Rotary? Because I log in and I see that I always see the screen that I see right now that you're showing. How do I get to the My Rotary? I'm always lost trying to find it.
It's a website called rotary.org and My
Oh, so
Rotary.
it's a completely different login?
It's not on the district website.
That's why I can never find it. Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
That would explain it. My Rotary is a button on the RI website, the rotary.org.
Right. And it's how you log in.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I create a
Right
separate
here.
login?
See,
Yeah,
you
create
see
your
My
own
Rotary
login.
on rotary.org.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's what I couldn't log into because it's down right now.
Right.
All right. Okay.
And they are
Thank
not
you.
the same logins, so you'll have to keep track of two. They're different.
Yes.
I was always logging into the other going, now how do I get to it? I know I've been told to go to this, but I can't ever find it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not logging into it. Thank you very much.
You want your own account and you want everyone in your club to have their own account.
Okay.
And
So-
the Rotary, we need to probably help you clarify that. The district-wide website, sometimes we call it the district website. It's rotary5520.org. Club Runner is the provider of the software that runs that site. So sometimes we call it Club Runner. So I'm sorry if it confuses you at times.
Okay, so My Rotary is Club Runner?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
My Rotary is rotary.org.
Right.
It does take some clarification, doesn't it? We almost ought to put it in the district newsletter, you know.
Maybe so.
There are two accounts.
Yes.
We need them both.
I just want to take a second and say thank you for your time, and feel free to email me at any time during the year with your questions, or I can always, sometimes I can even walk you through things by setting up a Zoom call with you and watching where you click, which is really a handy tool. So now that you know Zoom, that's an easy way to communicate with me. Anything else, Sunny? We want to wrap it up?
So I just wanted to say, thank you all very much. And your questions reinforce why we're doing these assemblies. They are exactly the right questions. If you haven't been a secretary before, it is a life-changing experience. There's nothing, and you'll learn more about your club than anyone else in the club, probably including the president.
And you will make the club work. Without you, the club would be lost.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to tell you tonight is that during this time when we're all on Zoom, they don't see the organization behind the wheel turning behind it all. And secretaries have to do that. They have to keep the members updated, and you'll want to stay engaged and do all of your jobs. And the more you look organized, the more visitors that come to your Zoom meetings will see that it's a great organization and it does amazing things. So
agreed.
Let's make it that wheel turn.
So as Governor Tom Walker would say, thank you for being a Rotarian today.
Yes. Tomorrow you'll get an email with the recorded version, as well as a link to a feedback survey, because we are all about continuous improvement. So we want to know what we did well and how we can improve. And whatever Sunny is going to send me, I will forward as well.
Yes.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donette. Thank you,
Very
guys.
informative.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.